You understand you can receive anywhere from 30 years to life.
Yes, sir.
Have any questions about that?
No, sir.
You cannot be paroled from this offense, do you understand? In other words, you can't get out of jail until you've served your time, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And if you get 30 years, you serve 30 years, you understand? If you get 40 years, you serve 40 years, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
One of the conclusions by the South Carolina Department of Mental Health that he's competent to enter the guilty plea. He's been properly advised by his attorney of his constitutional rights, and the court will accept the plea. As far as competency is concerned, now the issue, Mr. Robertson, is whether or not he was mentally ill or mentally had a mental defect where he could not appreciate his conduct at the time the act was committed.
He did have mental disorders at the time of the offense, very significant mental disorders.
Dr. Price, what you're saying is, you're not saying he didn't know criminally responsible. You mean right from wrong on the day of the incident of July 18, 2011.
That's correct.
But what you're saying is that because of a mental disease or defect, he lacked sufficient capacity to perform his conduct to the law at that time?
Yes, sir, that's what I testified to yesterday, yes.
And you also testified that his IQ was, as you labeled it, a 68. Is that
That's
correct?
correct.
When the court finds that he sufficiently has a mental illness or defect where he cannot appreciate his conduct, the time the crime was committed on July 18, 2011, and I would accept his plea of guilty but mentally ill. My concern is he basically just shot a man in the head.
Yes.
Okay? And whether so to me, that means he's a danger to society. So I have obligation to protect society to a certain extent. So my concern is, can he be treated where this doesn't possibly happen again? I know nobody can be assured of that, but what kind of treatment can be processed, or is he always going to be able to be influenced by people because of this retardation?
He has been treated successfully just by incarceration, because by incarceration, he has not been able to use drugs, which limits some of the, when you take somebody with a brain injury, even a small amount of alcohol or drugs can really exacerbate their function, really inflame. So the restriction from that has certainly been beneficial to him. He has been treated in the past with a number of things like antidepressants and medications like.
He was laying face down on his side, left side a little bit. There was a large pool of blood around him, and there was a lot of markings in the blood, as appeared he was either crawling or trying to get up. We later discovered that he had a gunshot wound through the mouth, into the tongue, and the projectile came to rest in the left clavicle area of his chest cavity. The home was unlocked. The door had not been locked and had not been forced open. And there was actually a sign there that said, knock if I do not answer, come on in. The co-defendants actually jerked the phone out of the wall while he was crawling on his hands and knees toward the phone, basically to deny him the ability to call for help. Mr. Alley, according to his statement, stepped up and said, if you get up, I'll shoot you. Mr. Kraft said, I've got to pee, and had his hands up and said, I've got to pee. Went to stand up and step toward Mr. Alley, and when he did, Mr. Alley told me that he shot him in the face out of a reaction. Shot him in the face, he fell, they looked at each other, ran out of the home.
The family of Glenn Kraft requests that Chase Alley not be allowed to ever get out of jail. I am so glad that my mom, who had Alzheimer's, was not there. I always wondered if she had been there, if they would have also killed her.
I cannot even imagine enduring all that he has endured. And it is a result of his brain injury. He was a very athletic, a very popular young man. He's our child. I have been taking care of him for approximately the last 10 years.
To you, to the Kraft family, to my family. I really am a bad person. Bad mistake. Please
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Mr. Robinson, anything you would like to add?
I have a couple.
Okay. Three, your son's state department grace period of 37 years, give you credit for 567 days. Thank you very much.